If you haven't been following the Colorado Avalanche, Nathan MacKinnon just tied Joe Sakic for the most points of anyone in an Avalanche jersey, and he did it in the exact same number of games that Joe did. The question is Nathan MacKinnon the greatest Avs skater of all time? I want to get your initial gut reactions. I also just want to make the rules clear here. I am not counting goalies. We're not having the Patrick Waugh conversation here. We are talking about skaters because that is too complicated otherwise. Yes or no? Gut reaction. Nathan MacKinnon, Joe Sakic. Is Nathan MacKinnon better?
Gut reaction is no.
I think that would be most people, yeah.
If you ask me again in like 4 months.
Might be yes.
It very well could be. I will just say that if he wins the Art Ross, a second Hart Trophy, and a Conn Smythe, my answer changes to yes. Like if those things all happen in the next couple of months, my answer changes to yes. Even if he doesn't win another Hart or the second Hart Trophy this year, but he gets the Art Ross, and the Conn Smythe, it's still a yes.
Probably yes. Yeah,
it's still a yes. It's just that the production has been is obviously incredible, but you do look Mikko Rantanen is great, but look at Mikko Rantanen away from Nathan MacKinnon is still
not as great. Yeah,
very good, but it has been a little bit eye-opening of like, interesting. Okay. And long term, we'll see what that looks like, but you look at what Marty Netchis has been alongside MacKinnon versus not with MacKinnon. There are a lot of things to consider when you're comparing these, but I think you just look at the individual production. Nathan MacKinnon, as of this recording, when we're talking about this, he has 116 points. It's the third best Avs season, and if he gets 5 points in the next 3 games, he has seasons number 1 and 2. He's got a Hart Trophy. He's got a Stanley Cup. If he gets the second cup and a couple more pieces of hardware, he basically replicates all of the success that Sakic had too. The one thing is that he's not the captain. Sakic was. Okay,
it's a fair point.
I get that, but I don't know how you would say that Sakic is significantly ahead of MacKinnon if Mac gets those last couple pieces of hardware, namely a second Stanley Cup.
Well, we all know where I'm going to go because I'm biased to 1.0. That's
if
just
you say
life.
Cale Makar, I swear to God.
No, but I'm saying like Sakic, and I'm so biased because of that's the era I played in, right? You know what I mean? So it's like, and it's hard to compare eras, but if you look at Joe, for me, I totally agree with what AJ's saying. The only thing I'm going to add, and Joe could have easily won 2 Conn Smythes. He got one. Patty got the other one. Joe was so clutch. He's one of the most clutch players in the history of the league, not just the Avalanche and the Nordiques, but and not that MacKinnon's not clutch. It's just Joe was so clutch. And that's where the edge goes to me. You know what I mean? Now, if we see, again, I compare it all the time, 1.0, 2.0, and then I go that gap of years in between, and I do believe the Avalanche will have had a second one in that 2.0 era. You know what I mean? And then does the answer change once that? Maybe, like AJ just said, like I'm sure Rudo's saying. So I do believe that if he does bring them to another one, because he is the main piece. Joe was the main piece. Obviously, there was other guys that, but just like there's other guys here. You just said, don't say Makar. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean?
That conversation's for 5 years from now, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, so I think the answer is like, my answer today is Joe, for all the reasons, but man, oh man, it's a tight race. And you're right, AJ. A lot can change in the next 8 weeks or so. It can.
I think you guys are probably right. I think it's probably still Sakic, but let me try and make a case here for MacKinnon right now. And honestly, one of the biggest sticking points might be that 4 Nations win that MacKinnon had a couple of months ago. There was no real opportunity in MacKinnon's career to rack up the international accolades that Joe Sakic has. he wins a gold medal there. And sure, the Four Nations is not the Olympics. It's not the same prestige. But that is the first time in Nathan MacKinnon's pro career that he's gotten to play for Team Canada in a real tournament. I'm not counting the World Championships. And they won. So off to a good start there. And MacKinnon looked great in the tournament. He matches Joe Sakic in that regard. Hopefully next year we see him go back to the Olympics, and that can help his case. Beyond that, when you look at the trophy case, it's really just the Cup and the Conn Smythe that MacKinnon hasn't matched with Joe Sakic. He has an MVP just like Sakic does. He actually has a Calder that Sakic doesn't. And then they both have a Lady Byng because LOL. But the trophy case really isn't that far off for individual accolades. It's really just the Conn Smythe, and then the Cup. Yeah, that's more of a team thing, but it does matter. And the captaincy does matter, which is something that Nathan MacKinnon doesn't have. But when you start digging into some of these statistics, and I get it, it's hard to compare statistics across eras. There is something to that, and it does matter. However, Nathan MacKinnon, the only Av to have 3 consecutive 100-point seasons. In fact, in an Avs jersey, Sakic never even had back-to-back 100-point seasons. He did do it in Quebec, but we're talking about in an Avs jersey here. Nathan MacKinnon also back-to-back 40-goal seasons. I know Joe Sakic is remembered as a goal scorer, and rightfully so. Joe Sakic never had back-to-back 40-goal seasons. Sure, it was hard to score goals back then. I get it. But I really do think when you look at the statistics that Nathan MacKinnon is putting up, a long way to go in MacKinnon's career to see where those totals end up. I can comfortably say Nathan MacKinnon's peak was better than Joe Sakic's peak.
The 140-point season makes it hard to really argue because, that's
a lot of points.
Bonkers season. But I would also say that I want to give a little bit of extra love. I know we're talking about some playoff stuff here, Eric. I know you're talking about clutch. Instead of engaging in this conversation for the 8,000th time on this podcast where people get mad at me, I will just. Joe Sakic had one of the great postseasons of all time in the 95-96 Cup run. He 18 goals in 22 games. He won the Conn Smythe, like he earned that. That's great. That's second that's tied. It's second all time. And Yari Curry and Reggie Leach have number 1 with 19 goals. So like he was very, very close to one of those kinds of postseasons. But also like he led the playoffs in scoring in 2001 when they won that cup. So Eric mentioned that he does not win the Conn Smythe. Patrick Waugh wins it. We were all okay with Patrick Waugh winning because, look, Waugh was great. Was there a little bit of recency bias because of how Waugh played in games 6 and 7 of that series? Yes. Yes. But, like, Sakic had just as good a case, in my opinion, to win a second Conn Smythe that year. Nathan MacKinnon needs to win one of those for me to talk about passing him up. And maybe more importantly than the Conn Smythe, he has to win a second cup. Nathan MacKinnon could have.
I agree.
Yeah, he could have 1,500 career points, and until he wins the second Stanley Cup, I'm gonna be a little iffy on it. It's always tough because holding a team accomplishment or a lack of a team accomplishment against a guy is always tricky when we're talking about which guy was better.
Yeah,
but like. You also look at Sakic, who stood in the way of Sakic in that 7-year run where they went to, 6 conference finals?
Something like that, yeah.
Between 96 and 2002, I think they went to 5 or 6 conference finals. The only, we don't talk about that one year where they lost to Edmonton. We don't.
No,
but
no, we don't.
That
was my fault.
Yeah, so we don't talk about this. Who has stood in the way of Nathan MacKinnon in that time? Because who stood in Sakic's way was the Yzerman, Fedorov, Lidstrom Red Wings, like that dynasty, right? Who is like a Dallas team that hasn't won anything, a Vegas team that did not win anything the year that they beat them, Seattle. You know, like Like, it's not been, oh, hey, well, you know what? The teams that they lost to went on to win the cup, and that happens. You know, it's been a bunch of teams that haven't done anything, haven't won stuff. Sakic was losing. Sakic's Avalanche teams were losing to cups, to teams that went on to win Stanley Cups.
I mean,
and to me, it's a small thing, but when you're talking about a razor thin margin of comparing these two guys, because MacKinnon's numbers are insane and much closer to Sakic's. I never thought Joe Sakic would ever be pushed, ever in my lifetime. I did not think that I was going to see an Avs player actually start this conversation for real.
Yeah,
it's there. It truly is there, which is pretty remarkable given the first 5 years of his career that we're even talking about this. But the way that the light bulb has gone on for Nathan MacKinnon, I mean, it's not like Nathan MacKinnon has not been exceptional in his own right in the postseason.
Yep. In defense of some of the teams that the Avs have lost to, Avs lost to a Dallas team that went to the Cup final.
Yeah.
That Vegas team had been to a Cup final recently and would go win a Cup final a couple of years later. So it's not like these were pushover playoff teams. And I think their most important piece there is their Cup win in 22 was preventing a dynasty in Tampa Bay, much more comparable to the Avs win in 01 over New Jersey, as opposed to the Avs Cup walkover against Florida. So I do think there is something to that.
There is also, and just a small extra piece here, MacKinnon tied for the league lead in goals in 2022 when they won the Stanley Cup.
Yep.
So like I was talking about this with Sakic. It was only 13 goals, but he did it in 20 games.
Right.
Had the Avs lost a few more games along the way, then maybe he would have had some chances to catch Sakic. But I do like I'm making the case a little bit for Sakic, but I don't want it to come across like I don't recognize that what Nathan MacKinnon has put together has been incredible, because Sakic's 18-goal postseason only came in 22 games. So it's not like he had an extra 5 or 6 games to build it up. He played 2 extra games. Both of those guys ended up leading the NHL in goal scoring in those Cup years.
Yep.
I don't know. I have now talked myself into this being a coin flip.
As it should be.
Yeah, I think it probably sounds like very slight edge to Sakic right now, but we could be feeling differently in less than 3 months. So
that's the reality of it, and it's not like it's unrealistic for us to say, oh well, if he wins an Art Ross. That conversation is way different in October, where it's like, well, if he leads the league in scoring and he wins a Hart, like he's this close.
Yeah,
he's down to the last week of the season in an Art Ross chase with Kucherov, who'll probably steal it from again because jerk. And I don't know that he's going to win the Hart. It still seems like there's a lot of Leon Draisaitl love living out there, which is fine. I badly do not want to engage in this again. But if he gets those and a Conn Smythe, you're talking about one of the great individual seasons in Avalanche history.
Yep. Agreed. The only other Av to do that is Forsberg. So, I think we all agree MacKinnon is ahead of Forsberg career-wise. So,
I mean, Sakic did have the 2001 season where he led the league in, I guess nothing. He just won the Hart.
Yeah, Forsberg the only one to win the Art Ross and the Hart together is what I'm saying.
It would be pretty impressive in a 2-year run for him to double the Avalanche's history of Hart trophies and Art Ross trophies.
Basically, yeah. All right. We do have to move on here, but make sure you're following us at DNVR Sports or subscribing here on YouTube. Catch all our other stuff, and playoffs are right around the corner. So should be a fun time here in Colorado.
We all silly like the mayor.